Hey, welcome. And in this video, I am going to go over how to log external calls into GHL's conversation window. And what do I mean by external calls? Outbound voice AI, inbound voice AI is extremely popular. It is a hot topic these days. And so maybe you're using a provider like Vapi, the voice API, Retell, or Synthflow, and you want to make sure that those calls are recorded and put inside of a contacts conversation inside of GoHighLevel. And instead of just putting them in a notes section or maybe a custom field, we can create them right here inside of the conversation stream. So if you're new to this channel, welcome. My name is Justin, and I like to create content showing you exactly how I solve problems in my business. And if you're new to the channel, I ask you to do one thing. Please click the subscribe button down below. It really helps me and helps this channel, and it encourages me to make more content just like this. Now, I've noticed that a lot of you folks who watch and returning watchers in the analytics show that you're not subscribers. So please do me a favor and click the subscribe link. Now, enough with that. Let's hop right into it. So if you come over here and look at the graphic, I'm just showing the conversation screen right here on whenever a call recording happens inside of GoHighLevel. If you have call recording enabled, it's pretty standard to see this box here where you can replay the message, download the message, so on and so forth. Pretty cool thing is you can actually log external calls from other providers. And so essentially what we're going to do here is we have a high level workflow just so I could show you, and then we'll hop into sort of the workflow configuration. But we are going to be sending an end of call report from whatever provider that is. We're going to go ahead and send it to a inbound webhook that's in a workflow. And then we're going to determine whether it is an outbound or an inbound call. And then we are going to log the call. So for this example, we're going to use RetellAI. If you're not a user of RetellAI, don't worry about it. It's not a huge deal. The concept is the same. The fundamentals are the same, okay? Each of these platforms have the ability to send an end of call report. The fields may be located in different places, or the custom fields may be named differently, but the concepts are going to be the same. So stick through it, and I'm going to try to make this pretty simple and short and sweet. So we're going to hop in here, and first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come into my GoHighLevel account, and I'm going to go to automations and create a new workflow from scratch. I'm going to name this YouTube Retell external calls. In the trigger here, I am going to add an inbound webhook. And right here, I'm going to copy this URL and save this trigger. Actually, I guess I can't save it till we actually receive a payload. So what I'm going to do here is I'll show you in Vapi. Vapi, I'm here in the agent settings. I know we're going to use Retell, but I'm going to show you in Vapi where you would paste this webhook. In here, if you're looking at your agent where you configure it, you click on advanced, scroll all the way down to where you see messaging in server URL, you would paste it right here. And then under the server messages, you would just make sure the end of call report is being sent. If you have anything else being sent, then you would have to account for that inside of your workflow. And we're going to do a little bit of that here in Retell. In Retell, it's a little bit different. So if you're inside of your agent, you would just click on the agent. And then on the webhook settings here, you have this agent level webhook, and you would just paste it in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and paste my webhook. And in here, inside of the documentation for the webhook settings, that there's 3 event types that are fired off every single time a call happens. And so we have call started, call ended, and call analyzed. And so what we're going to do inside of our workflow is we're going to filter based off of call analyzed. We're only going to log the call and the recording because it's going to be complete. And the data that we need is probably all located in the call analyzed webhook. We're going to filter that out using an if condition. And so I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. But the first thing I need to do is I need to actually make a call to that AI agent so that the end of call report actually gets sent. So let's go ahead and make a call from a demo account. Let me see. Bear with me. Hey, this is just a test call. I wanted some content here to record, and this should be enough. So I'm just going to go ahead and hang up right now. All right, I just wanted to create some content that we had to record. So if we come back over here to our GoHighLevel workflow, we'll see that we should have 3 different webhook requests in here, all within a pretty short time frame. And so that matches what we expected, right? Because for every single phone call, we had 3 events that were triggered. So now let's go ahead and click through all of them. So the earliest one we received is here at the 33-second mark. If we click on here, I'm just going to show you what these look like. You see the event was call started. That matches with the event here, call started. And there's some information in here, but I'm not going to go through that. We really don't care about that one right now. Next one should be call ended. And so if we come to the event here, we have call ended, just like we expected. And the last one, the latest one, should be call analyzed. And so here we go, call analyzed. Perfect. So next thing we need to do is we're going to go ahead and save this trigger. And it's going to want us to create a contact, okay? And so don't get confused here. The next action is to create a contact, but even if you're not creating a contact, say the contact already exists in your GoHighLevel, you are going to want to go through and use the create contact action, because what that's going to do, if the contact's already created, it's not going to mess anything up. It's just going to say, hey, contact already exists, but it's actually going to put that contact ID in this workflow. Don't let that confuse you. But if you don't do that, then you won't actually be able to add the call to that contacts conversation stream. So it's mandatory. So let's go ahead and save trigger, and you notice automatically this create. Oh, look, and they just updated this. That's awesome. It used to just say create contact. Now it says create and update contact, because that's exactly what it does. And so that automatically pops up. So we're going to add field, and I'm going to search for phone number, because that's the information that we have. And if we come in here inside of the webhook, we're going to see if we can find the phone number inside here. So let's see, call from number. There you go. So we're going to create a contact using the from number, because I originated the call into the AI agent. So the from number is the phone number for the contact. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm just going to click save, and I'm going to save the workflow because I like saving early and often. Next thing we need to do is we need to filter the webhook, like the inbound messages, right? Because we've just received 3 messages. We don't necessarily want to take action every single time, okay? We also don't want to create a contact every single time. And so I'm going to actually put the if statement above create contact. And so let's come over here and search for if, and then I will say, I'm going to name this call analyzed webhook. And then I'll say yes here. That's arbitrary. I'm just naming it so that it looks better whenever we're looking at the workflow. And the condition here is if we come over here and scroll down for inbound webhook, we're looking at the event. And so long as the event is, and we'll come to our documentation here, call underscore analyzed. I'm just going to copy it and paste that in there. So long as the event that's in the webhook is call analyzed, then go down this path. And so we'll save that. And so what's going to happen here is that if we receive a call started webhook, it's essentially going to come in here, and then it's going to fail this condition and just be exited from the workflow. If it's the call ended workflow, or webhook, it's going to come in here and it's going to be exited. But when it's the call analyzed workflow for that same call, then it's going to come down here and we're going to do some things. First thing we're going to do is create contact, but really remember, we just want that to create the contact ID, or to gather the contact ID, and maybe you don't have the contact, so you need to create the contact anyway. Next thing we're going to do is super simple. GoHighLevel has a workflow action that I had no clue existed, and it's called log external call. So let's go ahead and click that. Now, before we do this, actually, I want to account for whether this was an inbound or outbound call, because if you see right here, the first thing it's asking us for is call direction. And so we have inbound call direction or outbound call direction, and it's giving you these values in parentheses because it needs to be exactly that. And so the information that the webhook passes to us is probably not exactly inbound or outbound. We'll see. And so if I come into, let's go ahead and cancel this really fast. If I come into the webhook and I take a look at what information is present in here, let's see if we can find the call direction in here. It should be in there. So let's scroll down. There's an easier way to do this if we use Control F, but we like pain on this channel, so we're going to continue to do it the hard way. Let's see. Disconnected reason, user hang up. We're looking for call direction. Call analysis. Call successful, neutral, direction. Wow. Okay. So here inside of Retell, it actually is listed as inbound and outbound, which is super useful. But I know that in Vapi, it's actually not inbound or outbound. It'll say call underscore inbound. And so what you would do is you would create a conditional statement. We're going to do that right now. And then you would just essentially set outbound or inbound. You'll see what I'm talking about here. So let's create another conditional statement here, and we're going to name this inbound or outbound. And let's do the inbound first. And let's search here, inbound webhook, and let's search for direction. Call direction, that's what we want, is inbound. Then we will duplicate this branch and then select this one to outbound. Now, if you were using Vapi or SynthFlow, probably has some different parameters that are passed over. But if you're using Vapi, they have something like call underscore inbound or whatever. That will be the condition set here and here, so that if it matches, it goes down that route. So we're going to go ahead and click save. And so now it's a call analyzed webhook. It's coming down here. We're creating the contact, so we get that contact ID, and now we're determining whether it was an inbound or an outbound call. So now we can log external call, and if we log external call, we can technically put inbound here because we already filtered, or you can probably use the value. If you're using Retell, you can use the value inside of the webhook, the variable. But here, date, we're going to leave this empty because if you read this here, it wants it in a specific format, ISO 8601. But if you don't know what that is, or you don't want to do some AI magic to get the exact timestamp, you don't want to mess it up, just leave it blank, and the current date and time will be automatically applied from when the contact is going through this workflow, which is good enough for me. Now, 2. So enter the receiver's phone number. This is an inbound call, so the 2 number is actually my bot's number. So if we come in here and we look at the call, let's see, 2 number, super easy. There it is. Now let's see if we can find the from number, inbound webhook, call, and from number. There you go. So that's going to be logged in the information. You'll see that. We'll pick it apart here when I make this next test call to test this workflow. And then call status, we're going to go ahead and say completed. And then the attachment here, this is the cool part. This is where you define the recording URL. And so if we come in here and look inside of our webhook, we should find a recording URL. And let's see, recording URL right here. And that's all you want to do. Click save. Let's go ahead and name this log inbound call. Next thing we're going to do is we are just going to copy this over to outbound call. And then we'll change this to outbound call so we can also log the recordings for outbound calls. We'll change this direction to outbound. And then we just have to switch these numbers up here. So we're going to Control X this because the direction is switched up. Oh, I don't know what I did there. Okay, I'm going to paste it here. And let's remove this. Let me make sure I'm not taking away too much. Bear with me. All right. So we're just reversing the numbers because the call direction is reversed. So hopefully that makes sense. Call status is completed and the recording URL is exactly what we want. So everything else remains the same. We'll save this, we'll save the workflow, and then we'll go ahead and publish this workflow. Make sure we save again. And now when we make the call, we should actually get the call recording stored inside of the conversation channel. So if we come back here, we'll go to conversations and I'll show you that there should probably be this is the contact that I'm calling from. There's no recording right now, so I'm going to call again, and hopefully we see the recording. So let me go ahead and queue up that call. Hey, this is just a test. I need some content here for a call recording, and that is enough. Thank you. All right, so here in a second, let's come over here to our automation and make sure that automation actually kicked off. Move this. Let's see. Looks like we had 3. And let's make sure we'll refresh here. Cool. So those are the 3 because we just went live on it. If I come now to the conversations, that I have an inbound call now, which is super awesome. And if I play the recording.
Hello, how can I help you today?
Hey, this is just a test. I need some content here for a call recording, and
That's our call. Cool. And let's go see if it gives us some information. If we go on details, it'll show us the from number, which is the number I called from, the to number, which is the number I called. It'll give us the timestamp, inbound direction, and where the call recording event was made from, which is a workflow. That's it. That's exactly how you do it. I had this come up in a client call, and I've had a few of you inside of my Skool community ask exactly how you do this. There you go. It is pretty simple. Again, if you're new here, please click the subscribe button. Also, if you're new, we have a free Skool community, which is called Automation Station, where I go through and I hop on Q&A calls. I also put all this content that I make on YouTube in there, and any of the handouts, any snapshots, any resources that come along with it, N8N templates, make templates, are provided for free inside of that Skool community. I'll leave a link down below or in the comments, and just feel free to go ahead and join there. Thank you for your time, and hopefully you found this valuable. Have a nice day. Peace.